Aye, as I say, guys, it's all about who's going to replace Russell Martin now. Let me throw some of these comments at you. Gianni, our old pal Gianni, says, look at the style of football the Motherwell manager's creating under the same amount of time and about £30 million less budget. Dante says it will be Dyche, given the Everton connection already in place. William says, should have stuck with Barry Ferguson. Thomas says they should go for Jurgen Klopp just for the banter. This one from David Watson. He's a jambo. Keep away from Derek. He wouldn't. Paul Brady also says, in my opinion, McInnes is the obvious choice. And then we've got a lot of people saying Gerrard as well, guys. So definitely a very eclectic mix in the comment section.
Scott?
I think McInnes is the obvious choice, Daniel. I think the answer's staring them in the face. Rangers, I think it probably has been at various times over the last kind of decade, and they've not done it for one reason or another. I agree with Andy. It is time for Rangers to get back to basics. They need a manager, not a head coach. They need a figurehead. They need someone who understands the club, understands Scottish football, knows what it takes to be successful there. You're talking about a guy, we've mentioned it on here before, you're talking about a guy who Walter Smith wanted to be Rangers manager at some point. And if that's not a glowing or a ringing endorsement, I don't know what is. It's more difficult now for them to get him because he's at Hearts and he's doing really well. He's just at the start of a kind of lengthy contract at Hearts. But if Rangers really want Derek McInnes, if Kevin Thelwell decides he's the man and that's the route they want to go down, then Rangers should just go and get him. Doesn't matter how much it costs. Doesn't matter where Hearts are in the league. No, they need to give Derek McInnes a decision to make by speaking to Hearts, finding out what it's going to take. To get Derek McInnes to speak to them and get it done. No, if you're a proper, talking about Rangers here, I mean, if you're a proper big club institution, you decide on a manager and you go and get him. Whether Kevin Thelwell is thinking like that, whether Patrick Stewart's thinking like that, or the Americans, who knows? Probably not. I'm saying McInnes is the obvious choice. That's my opinion. The obvious choice from the outside when you're thinking about Kevin Thelwell would be Sean Dyche, I think, because he's out of work. They've worked together before. He probably is the kind of anti-Russell Martin. So if you're going to pivot and go in a completely different direction, Sean Dyche might be the man. And listen, I don't think Sean Dyche necessarily would be a bad appointment for Rangers, but I just think at this moment in time, for what's required and what they need, I think they have to go for Derek McInnes, and I'll be amazed if he's not on their radar, not on a shortlist, and if contact isn't made with Hearts to go and ask the question at least. I don't know what Jacko thinks of
that. Look, everybody knows that, what I think of Derek McInnes as a manager. I've said it for long enough. It's a tricky one. What I would say to that, Scott, is what I refer you to my earlier answer. Do you know what? If that's the call they decide to make, and I think you're absolutely right in everything that you've just said, if they make that call, do you know who's going to have to interview really well? Not Derek McInnes, but Kevin Thelwell and Patrick Stewart. Because Derek McInnes has shown, and it was the toughest decision of his professional career when he had basically accepted the Rangers job when he was at Aberdeen, and then Dave King shifted the goalposts on him at the 11th hour. His first meeting with Dave King was enough for Derek McInnes to decide, I can't work with this guy. I don't trust him. And if Derek McInnes was put in exactly the same position, wow, how difficult does that become for him? If he looks at what's there and thinks, I'm not sure I trust these guys. But he's turned Rangers down once. You don't get to turn Rangers down. Hardly anybody gets to turn them down twice. And if he turns them down, certainly not going to be a third invitation. No. So all these things would have to factor into his decision making on that. But I think he's shown, and that talks to the integrity that he's got as a guy, that in that situation, when all he wanted was to become the manager of Rangers, he felt he couldn't do it. And by the way, you correctly mentioned Walter Smith. Walter Smith was involved in that whole process. Derek McInnes turned to Walter Smith for advice, told him how his conversation had gone with Dave King, and let's just say that Derek McInnes was acting, having received the counsel of the guy that he respects as the greatest Rangers manager of all time, and he made that decision based upon his conversation with Walter Smith. So, having been in that situation once, wow, could you imagine that he's put into it for a second time? And also, if I'm Tony Bloom, I'm probably sitting him down right now saying, right, Derek, there's a potential problem here. What can I give you? What do we need? What do we need in terms of the squad in January? What can I do for you? What about your contract? Can I make this an impossible position for Derek McInnes to walk away from everything that I'm prepared to put on the table for him, especially if he's going into an environment at Rangers where he's not sure that he's really wanted, he's not sure that he's really, he's not Russell Martin. And that's clearly what Kevin Thelwell wanted to work. Well, Derek McInnes is a step in a very different direction. And people talk about that as well. And, for a long time, Rangers fans kind of look down their nose a little bit. We don't like the football. We don't like... I'm watching that Hearts side right now. It's 4-4-2. It's up and at them. It's wingers. It's crosses into the box. It's exciting. It's front-footed. It's aggressive. It's everything that I'm sure the Rangers support would absolutely lap up if they were getting to watch that on a weekly basis at their own stadium.
There's plenty of support for Derek McInnes in the comment section, guys. But I think a lot of people watching aren't convinced that he would leave Hearts. This one, John says, why would McInnes give up a cushy number at Hearts with the backing of Tony Bloom on top of the SPFL for a potential banana skin at Ibrox? Green Machine says Derek McInnes will be the next Scotland manager. David Watson says, do you really think Derek McInnes would leave the Jambos? However, Luke says, Derek McInnes for me, go and get him, Rangers. And Rebel says, money talks, Keith. If Dale gets the call, he will go.